Hello, welcome to this new chapter of physics, lesson number 6, okay, which is wave optics. Sorry, superposition of waves. Now, before we begin this chapter, there is something which you need to recall, that is what is wave and all. So, first of all, let us try to understand what is a wave. Just recall it. Wave is nothing but a vibration or disturbance in space. That means, if you take an example, you might have seen the ripples created on the surface of water when a stone is dropped in it, isn't it? So what does it? Happens actually is the water is displaced locally where the stone actually falls in water. If this is the water, and if I put a stone here, if I threw a stone here, so these ripples are created, isn't it? Now these disturbances slowly spreads and distant particles get disturbed too. As you can see from here in this image, the ripple was created initially here, but distant particles are also being affected, and the wave disturbs the particles for a short duration during its path. Now these particles actually oscillate about their position of rest for a short time, okay, and that this is how a wave is created. That means a wave is created because of the disturbance created to a particle, and in turn this particle creates disturbance to the other particle. In turn that particle creates disturbance to the other particle, and this is how through the chain of these disturbances a wave is created, or a waveform is generated. So you can say it is a disturbance caused locally for a short duration. Now another important characteristics to know about wave is that waves is actually transfer of energy without transferring matter. That means what? That means when I say that a waveform is being generated because of the disturbance of particle, that does not mean that this particle is moving from here to here to generate the wave. It means that if these are infinite number of particles here, isn't it? Suppose infinite number of particles are here. Now initially this particle, suppose this particle is there, it starts vibrating about its mean position. Suppose this is the mean position, and it starts oscillating. Now because of this oscillation, since this particle was in contact with some other particle, so energy is being transferred to this particle also. Now this particle also starts oscillating towards its position. Since this particle is in contact with other particle also, so this particle also starts oscillating. So it is not the transfer of particles, rather the transfer of energy from one particle to another. So a waveform is transfer of energy without transferring matter. Then how are waves classified? Waves are classified by two things: what and how. That means what they move through. Can they move through a particular medium? Can they move through vacuum? On the basis of those, waves are classified. Secondly, how they move. That means if they are moving parallel to the medium, or if they are moving perpendicular to the medium. So on the basis of these two categories, waves are classified. Let us see those. So what material do waves move through? The material through which a wave can move is called medium. You must have, this is just a recall, that the substance that waves travel through and need to have in order to move is called a medium. So on the basis of medium, there are two kinds of waves: electromagnetic waves and mechanical waves. That means what? Electromagnetic waves are those waves that can travel through matter or even empty space where matter is not present. That means electromagnetic waves can travel through vacuum too, okay, but mechanical waves cannot travel through vacuum. The mechanical wave always require a medium to travel. So mechanical waves will require medium to travel. Mechanical waves will always require medium to travel. You know, sound is a mechanical wave because sound requires a particular medium to travel, otherwise sound cannot travel. But light is a form of electromagnetic wave. It does not require any medium to travel. So if you see, examples of electromagnetic waves are radio waves, visible light, microwaves, infrared waves. You see the waves from the sun that are coming, that do not require any medium to travel. It can come through vacuum also. So these are the electromagnetic waves. Now coming to the mechanical waves, they need a medium to travel. They require the particle of the medium to vibrate in order for energy to be transferred. So those waves that are traveling because of the vibration of the particles, those waves are called mechanical waves, and they require the particle to vibrate. Examples are water waves. You see the ripples formed in the water. What happens is these water molecules actually touch each other and vibrate, and similarly the corresponding molecules also start vibrating, similarly corresponding molecule also start vibrating, and the ripples are generated. Similarly, earthquake waves, seismic waves, you saw sound waves, and waves that travel down a rope or a spring. If you see, suppose this is a rope, and if it is attached at this end, if I give a jerk at this end of the rope, what happens? The rope starts vibrating like this, isn't it? You must have done this or seen this in your childhood. What happens is that this rope is, why it is vibrating? Because this rope is consisting of infinite number of what? Particles, atoms. Each atom starts vibrating at their own position, and because of that, when I give jerk here, this atom starts vibrating, and this atom now transfers energy to this atom, it also starts vibrating. These atoms transform energy to this atom, this also starts vibrating. Similarly, they keep on transferring the energy, and the atoms keeps on vibrating. Because of that, a waveform is generated. Okay. Now, classification of waves based on the medium is electromagnetic and mechanical. Now, classification of waves on how they travel, how the particles move through medium. It is there are two types: transverse and longitudinal waves. What are those? Let us see. Transverse waves: when particles move perpendicular to the motion of the wave, then it is called transverse waves. That means, if this is the particle and wave is traveling like this in x direction, then the particle movement will be in the y direction. The particle will be vibrating across y direction. Then those waves are called transverse waves. Got my point? If the wave is moving in positive x direction, the particles in the medium will be vibrating in y direction. Okay, the perpendicular. You see, this is the example. Okay. Now, so transverse waves is clear. Then before we see this amplitude and all, let us see what is longitudinal waves. Longitudinal waves are those in which particle move parallel to the motion of the wave. That means whatever the particle is there, that will be moving parallel to the motion of the wave. If you see the example, sound waves are very good example of longitudinal waves. The particles moves in the form of compression and rarefactions. That means there will be very good example. You see, if you see this is a kind of waveform in which this particular portion is compression, these particular portions are rarefactions. That means this is compressed and this is less dense. So the waves moves in the form of compression and rarefaction, and the direction of wave is also this. The direction of compression and rarefaction of the particles is also this. So these waves are called longitudinal waves. Compression means a crowded area causing a high pressure region. Rarefaction means a spread out area causing a low pressure region. If you see here, this is crowded area, this is a spread out area. So this is high pressure region, this is low pressure region. I hope this is clear. Now, there are some terminologies. So you see, this is an example of which wave? Longitudinal wave. This is an example of which wave? Transverse wave. Okay. Now, up to this it is clear. So this is the quick revision. You see this same thing. This if I am giving a jerk like this up and down, so a transverse wave is created, isn't it? But if I give a jerk like this to and fro, then a longitudinal wave is created. Okay, so these are the two waves. This will be transverse, this will be longitudinal. So always remember, in transverse waves, the wave is like this, but the movement of the particle will be perpendicular to the direction of movement of the wave. But in a longitudinal wave, the movement of the particle is also parallel to the direction of the movement of the wave. Okay. Now, the terminologies related to waves are frequency, period, wave velocity. Okay. So let us see those terminologies first. First one will be the wavelength. What is a wavelength? Let us try to see that. Suppose this is a particular wave. Okay. Now this is called one complete cycle. Okay. And from here another cycle starts. So whatever will be this distance will be the distance of a particular one wave, that will be called wavelength, and this distance is always equals, if it is symmetric or the amplitude is same and frequency is same, this distance will be equal to this distance also. And these two are, you see, this lowest depth portion is called trough, one second. This is called trough. So it is not working correctly, sorry. And this is called crest. So this will also be crest. So distance between two consecutive crest, okay, or distance between two consecutive trough. Okay, it is already written here, sorry. This is crest and this is trough. So distance between two consecutive crest can be called as wavelength. Okay, and what is the amplitude? The height of the crest or the height depth of the trough is called amplitude, denoted by A. So what is the definition? Wavelength. The wavelength will be denoted by lambda. This is pronounced as lambda. The distance from crest to crest or trough to trough expressed in meters is called wavelength. Amplitude. The distance of crest or trough from the midpoint of the wave is called amplitude. That means if this is the wave, so the distance of the crust from this is actually the midline of the wave. So distance of the crust from the midpoint of the wave or midline of the wave, this is my amplitude, or distance of the trough, this is my amplitude. Okay, got my point. Now crest, trough is amplitude, wavelength is clear. So other definitions are frequency. Frequency is the number of waves that past a fixed point per second. Frequency is the number of waves that passed a fixed point per second. That means what? That means suppose you see this is a one form of waveform, and suppose I am measuring a waveform for 1 second, that it completes how many cycles? You see, this is one cycle and this is another cycle, and my timer says that my 1 second is complete now. Another waveform is there, suppose which is created, and it completes 1 cycle, 2 cycle, 3 cycle. Got my point? What happens? That means the waveform, the frequency of this waveform is how much? 2, because it completes 2 cycle in 1 second. The frequency of this waveform is 3, because it completes 3 cycle in 1 second. 1 cycle is this. So you see 1, 2 and 3. 3 cycles is completed in 1 second by this waveform, so it has a frequency of 3. So this is the definition of frequency. Time period is just opposite of frequency. Time period equals to 1 upon f. Okay, time taken to complete 1 cycle is called time period. Okay, so period, the time it takes a wave to travel a distance equal to a wavelength. And what is a wavelength? Wavelength is this much. That means time taken to cover 1 cycle is called time period. Time period is 1 upon f. Got my point? Okay, how time period is 1 upon f? Let us see. You see, I will explain you very nice way so that you will never confuse here. You see, I am saying that suppose I am measuring a particular thing for 1 second. I am measuring two waves for 1 second. I am measuring two waves. Now this one is the first wave, this one is the second wave. This first waves makes say 2 cycle. So this cycle will be symmetric. This first wave is making 2 cycle in 1 second. Which are the 2 cycles? You see, up to this is 1 cycle and up to this is second cycle. So 2 cycles this is making 1 second. This is making 2 cycles in 1 second. So its frequency is 2 number of cycles per second. If this wave, it has made 3 cycles in 1 second. What are the 3 cycles? You see, 1 cycle, 2 cycle and 3 cycle. These are the 3 cycles. So it makes 3 cycles. So frequency equals to 3. Now this is the definition of frequency, number of cycles per second. What is time period? Time period is time taken to complete one cycle. So here in 1 second it has completed 2 cycles. So one cycle will be completed in how many seconds? 1/2 second, isn't it? Here in 1 second it has completed 3 cycles. So this one cycle will be completed in how many seconds? 1/3 second, isn't it? So if time period, you see, time period is nothing but 1/3 here and here 1/2. And what are 3 and 2? 3 and 2 are nothing but frequency. So time period is nothing but 1/frequency. Time period is nothing but 1/frequency. Got my point? I hope it is clear. So now the basic recall of the wave is completed. So again let me tell you the definition of a particular kind of wave which is called as progressive wave. What is this progressive wave? The first kind of wave that you have to study is progressive wave. Let me write it. Progressive wave. What is this progressive wave? A wave in which the disturbance produced in the medium travels in a given direction continuously without any damping and obstruction from one particle to another is a progressive wave. That means what? Let me first write down the definition of progressive wave. A wave in which, first note it down, the disturbance produced in the medium travels in a given direction. Just note down the definition, I will explain to you. Continuously without any damping and obstruction. From one particle to another. EJ progressive wave. Okay, what it is trying to say is a wave in which the disturbance produced in the medium travels in a given direction continuously without any damping and obstruction from one particle to another is a progressive wave. That means what? Suppose this is a rope. This rope is made up of what? Infinite number of particles which we know as atom. And this rope is tied at this end. This rope was tied at this end. If I give a jerk at this end of the rope, that means I am giving a disturbance to this particle, and this particle will start vibrating towards its mean position. Isn't it? This particle will start vibrating towards its mean position. Now, because of the vibration of this particle, the particle which is in contact with this particle will also start vibrating. So it will also start vibrating. Similarly, this particle will also start vibrating. So it will also start vibrating. It will also start vibrating. It will also start vibrating. Now, if this energy transfer keeps on going without any damping, that means without any loss of energy, if this energy transfer keeps on going and at the end it reaches here, so a waveform will be generated. This kind of wave is called as progressive wave. Okay, got my point? That means what? That means a disturbance produced will keep on moving without any damping or obstruction from one particle to another is a progressive wave, or you can call it as a traveling wave. So there are some properties of progressive waves which we need to see. Let us see the properties of progressive wave. So properties, if you see, properties of progressive waves. Let us try to see that. Properties of progressive waves, the first property that comes is each particle in a medium executes same type of vibration. So the properties are given in your book, so I need not write it down. Rather, I will explain those which are important. So the first property is all the particles will execute same type of vibration. That means if they are performing SHM, all the particles will perform SHM. So all particles perform same type of vibration. Okay, all particles will perform same type of vibration. Second thing will be all particles will have amplitude, time period and frequency same. Okay, if this is the medium in which the wave is traveling, so all the particles of this medium will have same amplitude, time period and frequency. All will perform same type of vibration. The state of vibration of a particle changes from one particle to another. A state may change from one particle to another. That means, you see, if one particle is starting at t equals to 0, another particle will start at t equals to 1 second. Another particle will start at t equals to 2 seconds, because some time will be taken to transfer the energy. So the state of the particle or the phase changes from one particle to another. Phase changes from one particle to another. Phase will change. Again, no particle will remain permanently at rest each particle will come momentarily to rest while at the extreme position of vibration. That means what? Fourth is, so this is my fourth point. It is saying that no particle remains permanently at rest. It will come momentarily at rest. That means what? If this is my particle, so this is vibrating about its mean position, isn't it? So this is one extreme position, this is negative extreme position, this is mean position. And you know, when a pendulum or any particle when goes to mean position, it becomes momentarily rest at here, because here v equals to 0. When here it comes, v equals to maximum. When again here it's go, velocity decreases, potential energy increases, so v equals to 0. Similarly, here at extreme positions, the velocity of the particle is 0. So momentarily it comes at rest. This is what the characteristics or the properties of a progressive wave is there, that the particle of the mediums will become momentarily rest, permanently rest नहीं करेगा, momentarily rest करेगा. This was the fourth point. Then again, moving to the fifth point, it says that the particles attain maximum velocity when they pass through their mean position. So this we know. At mean position, v equals to maximum, v max. Then again 6 is, during the propagation of wave, energy is transferred along the wave. There is no transfer of matter. So this we know from the definition of wave, that energy is transferred during propagation of wave, not matter. This we know, that because of the vibration of one particle, another particle starts vibrating, similarly another particle starts vibrating, so energy is transferred, not that the particles are being transferred. Okay, so this is sixth. Now what is seventh? Let us see. Seventh, it says that the wave propagates through the medium with a certain velocity, and this velocity depends upon the properties of the medium. That means if light travels through vacuum, then through vacuum the velocity of light is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. But if light travels through glass, then its velocity depends upon the refractive index of glass, isn't it? Its velocity depends upon refractive index of glass, which we will see. Okay, if you have not understood, the velocity depends upon the refractive indexes of a particular medium. Okay, so this refractive index will come in optics chapter, or either in wave optics or ray optics when we study. For the time being, you just understand that whatever the velocity of a particular wave is there, it depends upon the property of that medium through which it is traveling. If it is vacuum, it will have a particular velocity. If it is water, it will have another velocity. If it is solid, it will have another velocity. And these velocities depends upon properties of the medium. Those properties are called actually refractive indices. Okay. Then this was 7. So V depends on velocity. Then eighth is, progressive waves are of two types, transverse waves and longitudinal waves. And what are transverse waves and what are longitudinal waves, we have seen. So all the properties of progressive waves are now covered. Then there comes another thing, that these mechanical waves, the waves which are traveling through elastic medium, the waves which require a medium to travel, because what happens, let me tell you this, sorry. So the last property of progressive wave was, progressive wave are of two types, transverse and longitudinal. What are those? We have seen, we know from the recall part. Then there is a one wave which is called as mechanical wave, which requires medium to travel. Okay, and that medium shall be elastic medium. That means, what is an elastic medium? A medium which opposes any kind of change in it is called an elastic medium. Okay, so the displacement of any particle of the medium at a space and at a particular time is given by a particular expression. What I am trying to say is, a particular medium, suppose this is rope, this is a particular medium for a wave to travel, isn't it? Now this rope is composed of infinite number of particles. When the waves are forming, then these particles, since these are vibrating, so these have infinite number of positions at infinite number of times. That means at times the position of these particles will be varying in space, isn't it? Now these particles are not moving, I agree, but these particles are vibrating, isn't it? These particles are vibrating about its position. So whenever they are vibrating, that means they are either moving up and moving down. So in that case also, the position of the particle is varying, isn't it? So they are varying with respect to space and with respect to time too. So that function is denoted like this. So you can say that what I will write here is the displacement of any particle of the medium at a space point, say x, and at time t is given by this expression. What is that expression? Y, which is the function for the position of the particle, that will depend upon x and t, is a function of x minus v into t. What is v? V is nothing but velocity. You see, velocity into time, what is that? Distance only. So this is the expression to denote the position of a particle of a medium through which wave is traveling. If you are confused that why is this x minus vt, then let me explain you through this. I can simply say that it is the function of x only. Why is this x minus vt there? So let us try to understand it. Suppose what happens, the factor x minus vt appears because the disturbance produced at point x equals to 0 at time t reaches the point x equals to another point, you say x dash on the right side, at some other time. That means what? You see, suppose this is my this is a plot of y versus x, and this is x, this is y. I am starting at x equals to 0. I am not starting at t equals to 0. I am starting at x equals to 0. At x equals to 0, suppose I am taking the time which is t. Then at x equals to 0, my position is given by 0 comma t, where 0 is the x and t is the time. Now if I have moved to a particular distance x dash, suppose this is x dash, how much time I will take? The time that I would have taken would be from here to here, the time will be distance upon speed. What is this distance? X dash, and this speed I am traveling is with v. So I am taking this much time to cover x dash position. That means what? That means I have started from t, and at x dash I have taken x dash upon v time. So final time will be what? T plus x dash upon v, isn't it? Because I have started from suppose I have started at 5 p.m. and I reach here at 8 p.m. That means total time, if I say from 0, what is the time? So you will say 8 p.m. is the time. So that is how it is t plus x upon v. So what happens if I am giving the time as t plus x upon v? So to accommodate this thing, that I am starting from time t and x equals to 0, I am not starting from t equals to 0. We have given x minus vt. Why? Because if I would have given t equals to 0, then it would have become v into 0. That means the function would have f of x. But I am not starting from t equals to 0. I am starting from t equals to t. I am starting from t equals to t. But at t equals to t, x was 0. So what position I will give? I will give that position which was x minus vt. Why? Because at t equals to t, I have x equals to 0. That means I was on the negative side. I was on the negative side by how much? This distance is how much? This distance is nothing but velocity into time. Suppose at t equals to 0, I was at this much negative distance. So that is why x minus vt is this position that has come. I hope this is clear. If not, then I will just again revise you. You see, it is saying that y x comma t is a function of x minus vt. The question is why it is x minus vt. I am just explaining you, it will never be asked to you. I am explaining it because we are starting from x equals to 0. The time is t. You see, at any position x dash, the time taken to complete this distance will be, since here the time was t, so the total time will be t plus time will be distance upon velocity. So this distance is x dash, velocity suppose v is the constant. So this is the time at x dash. At x equals to 0, this is the time. At a particular point x, suppose this is a particular point x where time was 0, isn't it? The time was 0. So what is this value? What is this value? This value is nothing but, this is the distance. This distance is how much? This distance is nothing but, since t equals to 0 here this is the time t equals to t. That means distance equals to speed into time. This is vt. And this is x equals to 0. How much behind in negative I have gone? Vt. So ultimately what can I write? I will write x minus vt, isn't it? Because this vt is the negative that we have gone for t equals to 0. So the negative sign comes because of the negative side of x-axis. So y as a function of x and t, that means the position of the particle is given in such a way that when it will have a start from t equals to 0, its position is given by x minus vt. I hope this is now clear to you. So this is the expression for position of a particle at any point in a space at a particular time. It will be a function of x minus vt. So if the particle if you want to justify this, you can say that this is a function of x minus vt. It is a function of x minus vt. So if it has a 0 velocity, so it will be at x position always. If we are taking at time t equals to 0, then also it will have x position always. Okay, so this is how it is justified. So I hope this is clear. So today up to this. In the next lecture, we will see another topic which will be superposition of waves. Okay, so 6.3 is excluded from your new syllabus, so we will jump to 6.4 directly in the next lecture. Thank you.